Welcome to another time of
Bible study.
Bwana asifiwe.
Amen.
I'm born again this evening. I love the Lord. And so we're going to share a quick word with you. Before we do that, I want to thank Pastor Zippy for giving me this chance. And I'm humbled for the opportunity to even share and to even mentor me through this journey. Bwana asifiwe. So we're going to share something quite retro, but I pray that it's going to bless us in one way or another, and it's going to speak to you directly and to your situation and to everything that we're going about in our lives. Bwana asifiwe. So we can all go to the book of Jonah. Jonah, then we go. It's quite. Jonah has only 4 chapters. Quite a short chapter of the word, and this is a story that it's one of the stories that we've read tukiwa shule. These are one of the stories that we kept reading about and we kept singing songs about, even when we were very young, even as we grew up in our high school, even now. So it's quite a conversant story that we have, but I just want us to just go through it a bit and just have maybe and remind ourselves and learn a few things. So go to the book of Jonah chapter 1. So I'm just going to read part of it because it's quite long as we learn from it. Bwana asifiwe. And we start from chapter 1. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed to Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bought for the port. After paying the fare, he went abroad and sailed to Tarshish to flee from the Lord. Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea, and such a violent storm arose that the ship threatened to break up. All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God. And they threw the cargo into the sea to lighten the ship. But Jonah had gone below deck, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The captain went to him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us, and we will not perish." Then the sailors said to each other, "Come, let us cast lots to find out who is responsible for this calamity." They cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. So they asked him, "Tell us, who is responsible for making all this trouble for us? What do you do? Where do you come from? What is your country? From what people are you?" He answered, "I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the land." This terrified them, and they asked, "What have you done?" They knew he was running away from the Lord, because he had already told them so. The sea was getting rougher and rougher. So they asked him, "What should we do to you to make the sea calm down for us?" "Pick me up and throw me into the sea," he replied, "and it will become calm. I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you." Instead, the men did their best to row back to land, but they could not, for the sea grew even wilder than before. Then they cried to the Lord, "Oh Lord, please do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man. For you, O Lord, have done as you pleased." Then they took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm. At this, the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. But the Lord provided a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was inside the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Bwana asifiwe. This is a common story that you know of Jonah. So the Lord sent Jonah to Nineveh, but Jonah decides he doesn't want to go to Nineveh, so he decides to go to Tarshish. And as we've heard as we were reading, so Jonah, the storm comes, and they in this boat, and these people feel we're going to die. So they asked Jonah. They knew he was a man of God, and then Jonah tells them, I'm the reason, yeah? I'm the reason as to why these things are happening. And they try to actually save him by trying to balance the boat, and everything just happens until when the people they are with threw him to the sea, and Jonah is swallowed by this the great fish that the Lord had put there, bonus if you will. So it's quite a common story, but I just want us to just understand. I don't know what, just understand and put it into a life perspective of the things the Lord has sent us to do, the things the Lord has asked you to do in our lives, things that the Lord wants us to do, and maybe some of us are keep running away from them, you know, keep getting excuses. You know, Jonah ran away from it. Remember the story of Moses and the burning bush? Moses, what did he do? He gave excuses of what the Lord was trying to send him to do. I don't know what maybe during this day, I don't know what the Lord may be telling you, maybe telling me to do. But we're trying to run away like Jonah. And some of us are trying to give excuses like Moses, saying that I cannot speak, I am the least, how comes, you know, you're just trying to give as many excuses as possible because that's how we feel, you know. And that's the place in our lives that we are in, and we feel maybe you're not capable of doing this and that. So I don't know. Just trying to think about our lives of the things the Lord has sent us to do. They might be as small and as big as they are. You know, we define them small and big depending on how we perceive them, you know. But when the Lord sends us to do something, you know, when the Lord sends you, it's because he knows you're capable of doing these 1, 2, 3 things, you know. He cannot send you if he does not trust you enough to do what he sent you to do. So when we refuse, I don't know, some of us put in, I want us to just think of the things we put in our lives and the excuses we put in our lives that are not making us serve the Lord as we're supposed to do. Could it be the things surrounding us? Could it be because we know what people speak about? You know, could it be because we are living a different life that we do not want to get to where the Lord is taking us to? I just wanted to just think about the things that the Lord is sending us to do. You can just keep quiet and think, what has the Lord sent me to do? Has the Lord sent me to be a representative of him in my family? Am I doing that? Am I running away from it? Am I giving up before I'm able to do what the Lord has sent me to do? Some of us have been sent to even be intercessors in our families. Some have been sent to be intercessors in our place of work, or in maybe the Lord has just told you to pray for somebody. It just can't be as simple or as big as we perceive it. And I don't know how many times we try to run off from the responsibility the Lord has given to us. Sometimes it's because we feel we're not capable of doing it. Sometimes it's because we feel it's maybe too much, you know. Sometimes the message is too heavy, the task is too heavy. Because sometimes when you're told, the Lord even gives you a work, unakwambia wewe, you pray for you intercede for the praise and worship of your church, and you're like, where do I even start? I cannot do this. And he gives you tasks to do this and this, and we feel like sometimes we're not capable enough. But we know the Lord qualifies us as even the task he's giving us is because he knows we're able to actually put it, and we're able to actually get it fulfilled. And I know sometimes in our lives we give those excuses, but how I pray that this night, that what the Lord has sent us to do, we may get the courage to go. You know, sometimes we may not know how we're going to do it, you know. Sometimes we do not even know where to start. Sometimes we do not even know how to start it or how to get to that point. But when we tell the Lord to help us, he's going to give us the strength to do what he's told us to do. You know, sometimes it's just about saying, yes, Lord, do you want me to do this? Yes. I don't know how I'll do it. I don't know where I'll start, but yes, Lord. After you've accepted to do what the Lord has told you to do, then now he's able to give you the next direction. What can you know? He's able to direct you the next steps. But how I pray, just want us to think about the things the Lord has told us to do, the things the Lord has assigned us. You know, what is that the Lord has assigned in your life that you've neglected anyway, that he's given you something to work on, and you've gotten to a point and you're like, this is just too much, you know. The pressure that comes with it is just too much, you know. Why, you know, even, you know, in our daily lives as a Christian, you know, as Christians, you know, sisi ni maua, you know, we pulling this smell, we kind of an attraction. We are representative of Christ, you know. So sometimes we even feel, as being the representative of Christ, you feel sometimes it's becoming too much because maybe of the things around, you know, the way the world is changing, the things that are happening around, and you feel that, you know what, hey, this is too much. I'm not able to still stand, you know. I'm not able to still be the representative that the Lord wants me to be. But how I pray that we may not run off from what the Lord has given us. has appointed us to do, has directed us to do. It might not make sense. You might not know how to begin it. You might not know how it will end. Sometimes we want to figure everything out. You want to know nikianza hapa itaisha aje. We sometimes don't want to go through the hassle of it has started, how it goes to the middle, how we just want to know how is it going to end. If you don't know how it's going to end, you don't even want to know it anymore. But how I pray that we may trust the Lord enough. He tells you go, you're going to go. Bwana asifiwe. When he tells you it's time to move, you're going to move. Even when you don't understand, where could you say I move to where, Even when he tells you to do this and you are wondering, mimi kwa familia yetu, mimi ndio mdogo, mimi ndio sijasoma, why is it me who is being told to go? Those things that we put as hindrances, and we put as and we like, sometimes they are genuine things, Sometimes, remember, I spoke about the story of Moses. Moses was a stammerer, so he's like, my tongue. How do I go address them? Some of these excuses may look quite genuine because that's what is actually happening. But when he says he's going to give you the strength to work on it, when he says he's going to give somebody who is going to speak on your behalf, you're going to tell and you're going to speak on your behalf, he's able you're able to cover, he's able to cover up those weaknesses that you have, those things that you feel you're not, when you're like, hey God, maybe I have a weakness. I don't know how to be consistent. Now, if I start, how will I be consistent with it? And he's like, you know what, just start. I'll give you the grace to be consistent. Bonus, if you will. Just start. That part that you feel the weakness that you have, the Lord is going to give you the grace. Because he has sent you, he's going to give you the grace to sustain you during that period that he sent you to do, during that time that he's directed you to do whatever he's directed you to do. So I pray that tonight we may not run off what God has sent us to do. We may not find excuses. We may not try and run off and try to see the worst part of it, and see the things that we cannot do. But we may take them as positively as possible and just let the Lord lead you to the next step. Let him lead you. Let him show you, now that I have begun. You said I do this, I will do it. And you go and start doing it and you are like, I will do it. But you then tell the Lord, but walk with me, show me the way. So where do I, the word of God says, I'll tell you this is the way, walk in it. He's the one who shows us the way. He says, hii ndio njia, tembea na hiyo. So he's the one who's going to show you, this is where you go, this is where you stop, this is where you take a break, this is where you begin again, this is where you get to somebody, ask somebody for help, this is where you stop, this is where you get into prayer. He's the one who he shows us. He says, this is the way, walk in it. He's going to show you how to walk in each and every step in the assignment that he's given unto you. So let us take this assignment that he gives us. Let's not be afraid. Let's not run away from them. So Jonah decides, I'm going to run away from it. Maybe he felt he was inadequate in one way or another. Or he felt that the task was too much. He was being told to go and tell these people, I'm going to destroy you. And he's like, maybe this task is just too much. Maybe people will hate me for it, Maybe things, they're just things. I don't know. They're just many tasks that the Lord can give us to do. And how I pray that we may not find excuses in them. We may take them with the weight that it deserves. It's called the weight that it deserves. Even if you've not figured it out, he's going to show you. You're going to figure it. He's going to show you the way. You might not know the end. You might not even know how the means of how things are going to happen. But if you trust in him, he's going to show you how to go about it. So here we see Jonah ameamua. He's going to not go. Then we can see what happens in chapter. So Jonah is swallowed by the fish. In chapter 2, Jonah is now making this prayer. And he's making this prayer to God. At some point he says, you know what, God, what you tell me to do, I will do. Because you can't hide from God anyway. He wants you to do it. You can't hide. And the best part of this, can you imagine in chapter 1 verse 17, it is God who had placed the fish. The fish did not come from anywhere else. Sometimes when we try to run away from what the Lord has placed us, has assigned us to do, trials come, things come. The fish swallow us. Other kind of trials come. And we're in this place of 3 days, day and night. Uko mahali tu, I can imagine being kwa tumbo of this shark and everything, or this fish. You can imagine, most likely it's dark. He's not eating. You can imagine what are the thoughts. the fish, maybe the fish is eating, so unaona tu vitu zikuja kwa tumbo. You can just imagine the things that are just happening inside there when Jonah is there. And so Jonah is praying and he's telling God, you know what, now I'll do. You know what you want me to do, I will do. I cannot turn away from you. I cannot turn away from you, God. I can't. Everything, the sea, he says, the sea and everything that is in it, you have created it. I cannot run away. Sasa napotea nikienda wapi? The place where I'm running to, you created it. The place where I'm trying to go to, you're the one who, so how can I even run away from you? Bwana asifiwe. May trials not come to our lives to remind us, it's because I refuse to do this. Wakati vita imekuchapa kabisa unakumbuka, oh, it's because I disobeyed, you know? It's because I did not do what, you know, it saves you a lot of 3 nights and 3 days, you know, of being in the belly of a fish. You know, of being in so many trials. Sometimes we get into things because the Lord wants to accomplish something in our lives, accomplish something because he's giving us this assignment. You know, he wants us to go to the next level of our lives. And sometimes you try to run away from it, and then now we are here, we are stuck with things we do not know, and the Lord wanted to take us to the next level of our lives, but now here we are stuck. 3 days, 3 nights. We are there stuck. We can't move. Things are happening. We don't understand how they are happening. You know, sometimes there are difficult things that happen, because we're trying to run away from what the Lord has placed in our hearts to do. So sometimes we engage in even different things. Maybe the Lord is just telling you, I want you to walk in my way, and you've decided, no, hey, iwe yako, it's too much. And you want to walk in your own other way. As you try to walk in this other way, things happen. And now you're in trouble. You're in so much trouble. And you're like, I should have just walked. It should have saved me so much from all this trouble, from all these trials, you know, from all these things that I just had to run away from. So Jonah in chapter 2 is making this prayer. And he's telling God, you know, at this point now, even he, at chapter 2 verse 9, even he even says, I will sing of thanksgiving or sacrifice to you. You know, even he's giving thanks to God in the belly of the fish, you know. I'll give thanks. What I have vowed, I will make good, salvation to come. So this time he tells God, what you send me, I will do anyway. So ameitikia at this particular point. Maybe not get to the point where things has taken us so far. You've gone through so far, and unakumbuka you needed to do this. It's because you're not listening to what the Lord is saying. You've missed what he said. So you get into trouble. You get into so many things, and then at this particular point you unakumbuka, oh, the Lord had said. So chapter 2 verse 10, and the Lord commanded the fish to vomit him. So the fish vomits Jonah after the 3 nights and 3 days and 3 nights. And Jonah now goes to Nineveh, where the Lord had sent him initially. So then now the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. Go to great city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I gave you. And then Jonah obeyed. Bwana asifiwe. Bwana asifiwe. I don't know how many of us are going through things just because we do not obey. I don't know how many of us are going through stuff right now just because we do not listen to what the Lord said that you should do. And so you're stuck into things. You're stuck in situations. Your family is stuck into a place because you did not listen to what the Lord told you to do. So at this particular point, during this second chance, so the Lord came to Jonah the second time. And now Jonah at this second time, he obeyed. The Lord is giving some of us today a second chance to obey what he told us. And he's saying, I'm giving you a second chance to obey. I'm about to remove you from everything else. I'm giving you a second chance to do what I had sent you to do. To do this assignment, to walk in the way I had directed you to. And now I pray that during this second chance, you're going to obey. Bwana asifiwe. You're going to obey what the Lord told you to do. Even if you don't know how, you've not figured it out anyway, you're still going to obey. And so this second chance, Noah obeys, and Noah goes to Nineveh, and he gives the message the Lord had given. And now the people of Nineveh begin to repent. So Jonah has done the task the Lord has given him. So he has accomplished his mission. And so now during this time, so of course the Lord had said he's going to destroy Nineveh because we're rebelling against him. And so the Nineveh people decide to repent, and these guys repent and they repent. And because our God is a God of mercy and compassion, he feels mercy for them and he forgives them. Then Jonah is this way, hey God, I was swallowed, this happened, this, and then you forgive these people. You know, it didn't, of course, it didn't make sense. Why did you have to send me to all that part, these people, and then you just you wanted me to go to them and destroy them, then you forgive them. There are things, you know, there are things the Lord will send us to do that will not even make sense. They don't. When the Lord tells you forgive somebody who has done you something, and you're wondering, hey, where do I even begin? Hata we Mungu siona alinikosea. You know, those things that we try to justify, you know. So unaona alikosea. So unaona this and this. So you see how it was not justified for me. There are things sometimes that will not make sense in our assignment, you know. You've done your part, and the Lord changes. You know, if Jonah did not go to these Nineveh people, the Lord would not have, you know, maybe the Lord would not have saved them. The Lord was in a way crying for the hearts of these Nineveh people. That's why he wanted him to go. And then these people repented, and the Lord had mercy upon their lives. Some of these things will not make sense. Some of the outcomes will not make sense. If you remember the story of Moses, Moses says he's a stammerer, he's not able to speak, and the Lord starts to use him when he agreed to be used by God. He starts to use him. There are days when Moses got tired. Remember when he went to pray on the mountain? Then he comes back and he finds the Israelites praying idols. And he's angry and he's like, I'm sacrificing my time to go pray. And you guys, what are you doing? Worshipping idols just because I was out of here for only how many days? You know? In our assignment doesn't mean the things we're told to do, it doesn't mean it's going to be soft, doesn't mean it's going to be freeway, it doesn't mean it's going to be such a smooth run. But as long as you've done his assignment, you've done what you've been told to do, his grace keeps giving us the strength to push on, you know. It gives showing you the way. What do you do next? What do I do next? You know, it keeps refreshing you. You know, the grace of God keeps refreshing you to even continue doing more of what the Lord has sent you to do. Bwana asifiwe. So how I pray. Bwana asifiwe. Are we okay?
Yes.
Are we learning something?
Yes.
So how I pray that we may listen to what the Lord is telling you to do. Listen to what he's sending you to do. Then we can just get a few lessons from the story of Jonah. That God is very merciful to us. See, God shows mercy to Jonah, and he also shows mercy to the people of Nineveh. But fun enough is Jonah is angry because God shows mercy to the people of Nineveh. What he forgets is God showed mercy to him. So, you know, sometimes we forget, even as in our side, we know, we like, the Lord has shown mercy to me. It's also our part to do the same event to the other people. You know, we forget very fast, and we expect the Lord forgave me, but you cannot forgive others. When somebody is born again, who has been doing 1, 2, 3 things, and you feel no, you feel they are still not your level because you feel that sin was too big, and you forget yours was worse. It's about the Lord has mercy. And even the way the Lord has mercy, the same way we need to treat people with the same way. The same way the Lord forgives us, we forgive them. The same way the Lord gives us a second chance, we give people a second chances. And we accept them the way they are. God forgives Jonah, gives him a second chance, and he forgets what had happened. The same way even us as Christians, as we relate with other people, we forget. You don't have to keep singing. Grace mwenye alifanya 1, 2, 3. I repented. I went. I got born again. And now you, kazi yako ni kuimba tu. Kuimba tu. And you forget what the Lord forgave you on. Some of them that maybe could even be worse than what, you know, what other people are doing. How I pray that we may also learn. The same way God shows mercy, we may also learn to accommodate other people, you know, to hold other people, and also remember where the Lord forgave us from. You know, sometimes when somebody can maybe have done you very wrong, some of the things that personally I remember, I say, oh Lord, even you, how many things have you actually forgiven me? So those are some of the things I personally ask myself before when I feel it's hard to let go or to forgive. That's what I ask. How many things has God forgiven me? It's only this one. How many times has he given me another chance? How many times has he overlooked the things I have done? How many times has he, how many things have I done? And the Lord has still given me mercy. These are some of the things that even as we relate to other people, we need to just come close to and know that we should also show mercy to other people. We should also learn. We're also learning from the story of Jonah that we cannot hide from God. As you were saying, God is omnipresent. He is everywhere. He created everything. You can't run away. You can't run away from the assignment He's given you. No matter how many years. Akikwambia ufanye hivi umepotea mwaka moja, you cannot run away from Him. He created you anyway, so how will you run away from your Creator? The one who has engraved your names even in His hand, how can you run away from Him? The one who knows what you think, not only me, all of us. You can't run away from Him. Even if you try to. Jonah was thinking, by going to Tarishish, I'm running away from God. You cannot. You will run. You will waste time running. You will waste years running. Bado utarudi hapa tu. Because you cannot run away from God. Those are things we need to know. So when you can't run away from Him, is when even the walk of your life, how you live, even if I, Grace, do not know. You can't run away. God sees. Even if your pastor will not see, God sees. You cannot run away. Even if you refuse to do that assignment, God sees. You cannot run away. If He wants you to do that assignment, you will do it. Because He will be back. You will be swallowed for 3 days, 3 nights. Until you agree to do it, you cannot run away from that assignment. If He's given it to you, you will have to accomplish it. And He's going to give you the grace to do it. You can't also rush God. Jonah was hurling up. Alikuwa anaharakisha God. Punish them. Anataka hii maneno tumalizane tuende tukienda. But you cannot rush God. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. So it's up to us to align to His ways. It's up to us to tell Him, teach me your ways. So that I'm able to align to your ways. So that I'm able to move to the way you want me to move. Because how He sees it is not how. For me, I'm limited. I might, unless the Lord allows me to see the end, I can maybe just see here. But Him, He sees to eternity. So you can't rush Him. He knows up to this point what's best for you. He knows up to this point what's best. He knows. So even when even when He brings things, he assigns us because He knows. He's one who knows what He wants to accomplish. He's one who knows the lives He wants you to save by the ministries placed in you. If Jonah went to these people of Nineveh, they were saved. People would have died. He's one who knows when He sends you out there, how many souls will come in. He knows the impact. So you can't rush Him. You can't rush Him in how He does it. You can't rush Him on how you want the things to get accomplished, how you want the things to be put in place. It's about patience. It's about learning to be patient. It might be hard because sometimes we want things to happen as fast, and it's not wrong. Sometimes you just want to finish this and get over with and move to the next. But you can't rush Him because He understands. He understands where our maturity comes in. He understands what we're able to handle. He understands what we're not able to handle. Bwana asifiwe. Praise the name of the Lord. Amen. So let's be patient as He fulfills what He's placed, as He fulfills what He has for us. Also, the same way God is compassionate. God is compassionate. He had compassion over the people of Nineveh. He had compassion over Jonah. The beauty is, God is so awesome. I was reading this and I was smiling and I was like, So Jonah amefanya hii mambo yote, amekasirikia God because God has not punished the Nineveh people. So Jonah is very angry and he decides to go somewhere and sit somewhere east-west and sit either side za Tarishish. And he's amejenga kashelter kake and he's seated. Then God, this compassionate God puts a vine just where he is. He makes, we need to read that one. Our God is such a compassionate God. You can see from chapter 3 verse 6. Or let me start from verse 4. But the Lord replied, have you any right to be angry? So this time Jonah is angry because God did not punish these people. Jonah went out and sat down at a place east of the city. There he made himself a shelter, sat in the shade, and waited to see what would happen to the city. Then the Lord God provided a vine and made it grow up over Jonah to give shade for his head to ease his discomfort, and Jonah was very happy about the vine. Bwana asifiwe. God is still compassionate to Jonah. Jonah amekasirika at this particular point. God hapunished watu wa Nineveh. And then what does God do? The Lord makes a vine grow just to ease his discomfort. How compassionate can God be to our lives? To just ease his, he doesn't want Jonah to be uncomfortable. So Jonah amekasirikia Mungu yake yote. And sometimes in our lives we are there, we are mad at the situation, at the things are not going our way. These are not going the way we had planned. These are not going the way we saw them they would go. And you're so angry. You're so angry. Why God? Why is it not working? Why is it not going the way you had said? Why is it not going? You're angry. And then what does God do? He just puts a vine to just ease your discomfort, to make sure you're not uncomfortable. Our God is so compassionate. You know, even when sometimes we do not deserve that, he's still compassionate to us. Never forget he's compassionate to you. He will create a vine. He will ease your discomfort. Bwana asifiwe. He's the God who eases our discomfort. And he causes us, even in the point where we are trying to fulfill our assignment, and there is so much discomfort, there is so much fights here and there. He's able to create things that a vine, as the way he did to Jonah, he creates a vine that is going to make you, even in that situation, you're able to still be, unajua kuna wakati kuna kwangana so many things happening that you can't explain. There's so many things happening, so many fights around, so many battles around, but you're comfortable. And people are wondering, huyu na yeye, kwa nini ha notice anything? They don't understand because the Lord has put a vine to ensure those uncomfortabilities zote, he covers them and you're comfortable. So in the midst of battles, in the midst of challenges, the Lord has covered you. But how will he cover you if you do not listen? If you do not go to where he tells you to go? If you do not walk with him? Let's listen to him. He will offer us comfort. Bwana asifiwe. He is compassionate. He will give us rest. So you can imagine, in the middle of Jonah being angry, the Lord is just offering comfort to him. Sometimes I keep quiet and I think about our lives. Sometimes when we are so discouraged, when you feel so discouraged, when you feel life has taken you to, unasikia tu maisha imekupeleka hapana. And at that point, sometimes we are tempted to be angry with God. We are tempted to be angry with the things that are happening. We are tempted to be angry with the things that are going around. But imagine he can give you comfort. Imagine he is faithful. Imagine he's compassionate to us. Imagine you can trust in him and he's able to cover you. Our God, he's not like a man who will forget. A man will most likely pay back because you did good to them. But God is not that way. Even in our anger, he's still there. He's still telling you, my child, I am here. My child, I am still here with you. I'll still give you the strength to do this assignment. I'll still give you the strength. I'll still hold your family. I'll still hold your children. I'll still, in this battle, in this sickness, I'll still hold you. In these things that are happening, I'll still give you rest. That's the God we serve. That's the compassionate God we serve, who does not, he's not a respecter of persons. He does not, the word of God says, I'll give mercy to whoever I choose. Yes. He doesn't, it's him who chooses. So it's not like the way us human choose somebody because we know them. It's him. So he chooses, he's going to give you mercy. And that compassion, he's going to give you. Bwana asifiwe. So how I pray, we may not give up on God in the things he's told us to do. And then another thing, Jonah, the Lord is showing compassion to Jonah. But Jonah is not showing the same to the rest. You know, at this point, Jonah is angry when the Lord is even showing compassion to him. You know, even after the vine, let's read. After God, I may pay a vine to just cover for the discomfort. Chapter 7, chapter 4, verse 7. But at dawn the next day, God provided a worm which chewed the vine so that it withered. When the sun rose, God provided a scorching east wind, and the sun blazed on Jonah's head so that he grew faint. He wanted to die, he said. It would be better for me to die than to live. But God said to Jonah, do you have the right to be angry about the vine? I do, he said. I am angry enough to die. But the Lord said, you have been concerned, about this vine. Though you did not tend it or make it grow, it sprang up overnight and died overnight. But Nineveh has more than 120,000 people who cannot tell their right hand from their left, and many cattle as well. Shall I not be concerned about that great city? God was showing compassion to these people of Nineveh who did not even know their right to their left. So God is trying to tell him, you did not even, ata hii vine, uku is as in, it grow overnight, nikakufa overnight. There's nothing actually, you are not involved in any way. Now, in other words, how kuisaidia igrow? How kuisaidia iishe? And so God is trying to tell Jonah, I had compassion of these people who do not know their right, their left. So it's like people who are confused, people, you know, the Lord is, he's saying, you cannot, you know, the Lord is just compassionate about these people. And Jonah cannot see that. Jonah is still angry. He says, I want to die. I want to die. How can you forgive them? I want to die. Maybe also learn to show compassion to people. You know, there are people who need that, who needs us to hold them close to us, who needs us to show them love, who needs us to show them we are there for them. You know, sometimes we feel that because the Lord forgave us of things and the Lord has been faithful to us, we feel the rest don't deserve it. And you feel like maybe how they don't deserve. But then you forget. Even during that time, it is the Lord's compassion that kept you going. Maybe offer the same to the rest. Maybe not forget that the Lord has been compassionate to us. Even in our journey, even in our assignment, he has been compassionate to us. So even as we interact with people in your assignment, you be compassionate to them. You hold them the same way the Lord would hold them. They might not even know right to the left. Hawajui right, hawajui left. So they don't even know much of what is going on. But when you hold them with compassion, you know, you're able to pray for them. You're able to intercede for them. You're able to welcome them to Bible study, to church. Because you will see them the way the Lord sees them. You will see them in a different angle anyway. You will not see them in your eye of how they are bad or how, but you will see them in a different way. And so you'll offer them help. You'll offer them advice. You'll offer them, you know, what you're able at that particular point that the assignment the Lord has given, you're able to offer them what you have. Let's also learn to be compassionate to others. The same way the Lord is compassionate to us. That we hold others close to us. We show them where you need to show them the way you do. You do. Because, you know, Juicy, something happened. Is it yesterday or a day before? I remember some time back when I would do business and you like asking, somebody asks you for, ikitu natoanga wapi? Being a business person, you will say, nikimwambia kwenye natoa. Sasa, does it mean, one, atakuwa customer wangu tena, two, ataambia wengine, tukienda sisi wote nitauzia nani? You know the way as a business person you think. So I remember Juicy, something happened. I remember the Lord telling me, what would it cost you to just, itakukost nini kumwambia kwenye natoa? Let me tell you, businesses ni mingi. Hata ukimwambia na uambie mwingine, you will sell to whoever you will sell to. Wako watakuja, wake watakuja. And it does not make any difference anyway. So I remember when I shared that, I felt so relieved. And I was like, sasa, why was I even keeping quiet with this information? Even nisaidia na nini anyway, you know? No, there are things sometimes we feel like, this information itasaidia mtu sana and you'll be disadvantaged, you know? Sometimes it's a selfish way of thinking. Business people, you know, I don't know whether we have business people here. Bwana asifiwe. Watu wa biashara. We don't want to say where we get things. We don't want to say how we get things. You cannot help somebody to do 1, 2, 3 things because you feel like it's going to disadvantage you. It's going to shrink your customer line. It's going to, you know, you think about many other things. But I felt it's like, and actually it didn't cost me anything. It was just share it. What else do you want me to tell you? Fine, I can give you. What else? Hata mimi siniliambiwa na mtu. So why should I not also do the same? Hiyo mtu, if the person thought akiniambia pia customer nini yake itaisha, would I also know? No. It's about giving out what you also know you will need. Give it out. It won't cost you anything. Customer, or they'll come. If they're yours, they'll come. If they're hers, they'll come. That's it. And I felt some kind of relief. And I'm like, wow, I should have done this kitambo. I should have done it kitambo. It didn't cost anything, you know? It's about showing compassion. It's about... compassion consists of so many things. And the same way the Lord provides to us, we should also be free. Give that advice. If you need to tell somebody, but there unauzanga nini, mimi nauzanga vitabu, sawa. Najua mahali unaweza pata na wholesale. Wewe unapatanga mimi cause mimi napenda. I can show you somewhere. Grow, hata wewe grow. Kora nifungulia yangu. I can show you where we get this. Grow. It's about being considerate of what people need. Being accommodative of what people need. So how I pray that, let's listen. What the Lord is telling us to do. Listen, do, learn, share. Don't run away from it. Treat people well as you continue with your assignment. Treat people with compassion. The same way the Lord shows you mercy, do the same. Forgive, uphold. And let's do the assignment the Lord has sent us to do. Let's do it faith-free. We might not know how. We might think we don't have the means. We might think we don't have the knowledge. We might think hatujasoma sana. We might think we are the least in our family. You know, remember the story of Joseph. We might think we are the least. Mimi ndio mdogo kwetu. The Lord can use us. He can use you, whether you're the least. Whether you mama, whether you have broken English, whether uko na mdomo, uko na tongue heavy kama mimi ya siri ni shida, He can use you because He's the one who perfects. You know, He's the one who works on us. He's the one who teaches us how to do these things. So do not see as if you're not able to. Do not think you're not qualified to. He's the one who qualifies us. Do not think you can't get there. He's the one who teaches us. He teaches us how to do it. He shows us how to do it. So when you let Him show you, He's going to show you. But you have to obey. The second time the Lord says to Jonah, Jonah obeyed. That was a second chance. If you lost a first chance, don't lose the second chance. Obey. Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Bwana asifiwe. I don't know whether you've been blessed tonight, and I pray you've been. I pray that you've hata kama umechukua just something small. I pray you've been blessed and you're going to go. You're going to do what you need to do. Even when you don't understand how you're going to make it, you're still going to get up and still do it. Thank you so much for tuning in. So we meet again on Thursday for another time of
Bible study.
Amen.